Thank you for joining us today. We're going to do an oil change on a Porsche Cayenne. So the jack points are the squares underneath the body. You can get some rubber spacers that pop up in there to protect it, but as long as you're on those squares, you should be fine. This is a 2014 Cayenne S. It's got the 4.8 liter non-turbo V8. Oil cap is on the left-hand side of the engine bay. That's where you're going to fill the oil. This does take a 0W40 or 5W40 full synthetic. I will put some links below to parts and fluids. It will take 8 quarts of oil. If you want to order a case, you can do so at mistmotorsports.com. While we're jacking the car up, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. So once you get underneath the vehicle, this belly pan has to come off. These are 10mm bolts. There's a handful of them going across the underside. As you can see, the corner of mine is damaged. I'm actually missing one of the bolts. There's 2 up in the sides that I forgot to point out that mine was actually missing. I'll point those out later in the video. Right there. Alright, once you have all those bolts out, you'll be able to drop down and remove the belly pan, exposing the underside of the engine. The oil filter is visible from the underside. It's a housing. It does take a 34mm socket to get to. You just take the plastic cap off, and the oil drain is a 6mm hex. Just crack it loose, drain the oil out. Be careful, it will probably be hot if you've driven the car. Don't mind the giant stash of oil. Once all the oil is drained out, just replace the drain plug. You will want to put a new crush washer on the drain plug.
On the oil filter housing thing for a VR6.
Maybe, but it's not a VR6. It's a bigger than a 32.
Smaller. No, that's bigger.
That's what she said.
Mathing. Hey, look at you.
Yeah.
You know I like you for a reason.
Overpriced fucking Volkswagen.
Listen, I would have bought a Touareg.
Shouldn't have sold yours.
Listen, I know this. All right, on to the oil filter housing. This is a 34mm. You're going to need a oil filter socket. It needs to be kind of a shallow depth. They're specifically made for this task. All right, make sure you have some sort of catch basin or drain pan underneath the oil filter housing. You're just going to remove this. It does have a rubber O-ring, so you may hear a little bit of squeaking. And as it comes out, just drain the oil. I apologize for the camera not being able to focus.
Hot.
Hot. All right, so we have the cover off of the oil filter. As you can kind of tell, there's a black cylinder there. That is the old oil filter. We're just going to pull that off, and you end up pressing a new one on, and the fabric will seal around the pipe that's inside. These are very common oil filters in German cars, and starting to get that way with some other foreign vehicles. All you have to do is press the oil filter in there. You'll feel it sort of grab onto the pipe at the bottom, and it's self-sealing. Just be patient and don't crush the filter. You will need to take this O-ring.
Don't worry, the housing will push it.
Oh, no, I'm trying to get it to stay. There we go. You want to take the old O-ring off and replace it with a new O-ring. Put a little bit of oil on it so that way it can seal without catching, rolling, and tearing. Alright, time to reinstall the cap. You're just going to hand tighten it down, make sure it's not cross-threaded. You will feel it start to catch and push into the oil filter. That's just making sure you've got a perfectly sealed surface. It's going to squeak a little bit, but all you have to do is go until the filter housing, until the cap bottoms out on the housing. You do not need to put a lot of force on this. You will break the cap, and then it's a nightmare to get out, and they're not cheap to replace. Nobody's going to have them in stock. Once you are finished draining the oil and replacing the oil filter, make sure your plug is in, your oil filter is back in. Time to replace the belly pan because you're done underneath the bottom of the car. Put your bolts back in, snug everything up. Alright, so we have the belly pan installed. Time to drop the vehicle back down so that way we can put some oil into it. Now, I am using the Liquimoly Molygen oil. Again, 0W40. This oil is supposed to provide the best wear resistance, fuel economy. It's also dyed green, so it'll react under a UV light. If you have an oil leak, it makes it easier to find. I am not sponsored by Liquimoly. This is not sponsored by Liquimoly. You can buy it through mistmotorsports.com. I just use this in all my personal vehicles. I believe I said 8 quarts at the start of the video. It is 10 quarts, not 8. Which is going to be 2 of these 5-liter jugs. No, I'll just have links at the bottom. You can take it straight to it. Buy a case. It'll be enough for 2 oil changes.
I need to do a oil change on my car. Even though it's leaking, still need to do it.
Have you seen this new oil, Jay?
What?
This green Liquimoly Molygen stuff?
No.
It's the slickest known to man. It almost killed me.
That it did.
I put some in the Excursion. Actually got an extra mile a gallon. It's got the... Well, that's a mile per gallon on the Excursion, which is not the epitome of efficiency.
No.
So... And it's made to go like 15,000 miles without having to do another oil change and stuff. It's got all the detergents and all the everything. So, and it's about the same cost as the blue jugs that have the, I think, the MOS2 in it. Alright, so now that we've got all the oil added, I do prefer to wipe off the sealing surface if there's any crusty stuff on there. And you're going to reinstall the oil cap. You want to make sure your wheels are back down on the ground. If you do have the air or hydraulic suspension, when you turn the car on, open the door, it will activate the suspension and try to level itself out. You need to let the car run and get up to operating temperature. It'll need to idle for about 2 minutes, then let the oil set. Use this to go up and down. Change your screen. You're gonna go to vehicle. You're gonna click. Go to oil level. And once it's warmed up, it'll show how much oil is in the car. Alright, so as you can see here, it is filled to the max. The green line is all the way up. If it was not full, it would be a little bit farther down. You would have some white squares. Alright, so at least your Porsche has brand new oil in it. The one unfortunate thing is you will need a scan tool in order to get in and reset the oil change. Thank you for watching the video. I hope this is helpful to some of you. Make sure to like and subscribe and share this video with any of your friends. Thank you.